HunterX is a side-scroller Souls-like similar to Hollow Knight. I was really conflicted if I should do a video about this game, because I don't like it. I would even go as far as saying I hate it. My reason for still doing a video is twofold. First of all, I don't think I should only review games that I like. That would be one-sided. Secondly, discussing why you should play a game is equally important to discussing why you should not play a game. And there is a lot of reason to. Let's start with something I had constantly on mind when playing this game and seeing how bad shit it is. The Steam page says that it's mostly positive and that it is a Souls-like, and I cannot disagree more on both parts. You play as some weird anime girl called a hunter. The story is cryptic and in essence not really existent. You mainly play with swords, but you can use spells and special attacks. You can block, dodge and also parry. Sounds like Dark Souls, right? On paper it does. But that is like having an AI write a movie script or develop a game. It took the mechanics but didn't understand what the core of the Souls games are. In Dark Souls you don't attack. You commit to an attack. You press the button and the animation starts. Which means that each attack has an interruptible and reactable timer. Because most enemies play by the same rules, the responsibility of taking damage is pushed to the player. Now the player has all the tools to prevent damage, and it's about the execution. In HunterX you attack immediately. Enemies do so too. Because the speed of the attack is higher than human reaction speed, damage is not always reactable to. This shifts the combat from reaction to anticipation. You guess when the enemy will attack or use preemptive measures, to kill or to stop the enemy before he attacks. This may be fine for most of the normal enemies, but a boss cannot be interrupted in that way. Worse of all, the defensive tools the player has are unreliable. Often the block works, but in one boss fight, the enemy struck behind me. So what? I could also dodge, except that I can't. This boss could track my dodge with the speed of light. Tracking was also later implemented in Dark Souls, namely Dark Souls 2 and onwards, but tracking attacks were just a different pattern. You could still dodge, but you had to dodge later and not too early. But because attacks are insanely fast in HunterX, this is not possible. If this wolf boss starts his free chain attacks, you cannot dodge behind him, only block and hope it doesn't glitch. You are given time before he starts the chain, but if you keep your distance you cannot do damage. When I beat him I didn't think I made it. I thought, finally I got lucky. And that is exactly the antithesis of Dark Souls. There's also poor enemy variety. You have in each area about 3 to 4 different enemies, which is way too low. The next problems are stats, or to be more specific, poor pacing. Dark Souls takes a lot of care about pacing. Maybe that's the best part the game does. When you play through Dark Souls and level up as you get souls, you will not be underleveled or overleveled. If for some reason you skip some enemies, you will still get the appropriate level because now in the new area, enemies give more souls. Let's assume we have a character with level 1 and a boss that is balanced for level 10 plus minus 3. Then the area before the boss should still give you enough XP or souls to get to level 7 to 10. For a neutral example, let's stick to XP. Because each level needs more XP, getting overleveled is hard. And because in each area all enemies give more XP, getting underleveled is also unlikely. You cannot get overleveled easily if each level up requires you to kill all enemies multiple times. Most people would get bored and move on. With this you can measure the appropriate level you should have by the amount of XP you get in the area. In HunterX however, you get so little XP that according to the amount I got, I was just at the right level for the third boss. But that weird insect thing kills me in 2 hits, and I need to hit it more than 100 times. I found out that you can sell the skill stones you get by leveling up for an insane amount of XP, and overleveled myself. I didn't even feel bad because the game seems to want it that way with random unavoidable shit. The boss in question can have multiple projectiles that overlap just right that you cannot avoid them. And remember, you die in 2 hits. But that's not even the worst part. I got to the 4th boss, the earlier shown bastard wolf boss, and that was the point I gave up on the game, because this boss wrecked me in so few hits and took so many to kill. I was still over leveled according to the XP I got from the enemies, and I cannot imagine how another player with less HP and damage would defeat it. Because if defense is unreliable, then each minute it takes you to kill a boss means a potential hit you get by chance. I want to make the fair point that I could have gone underground at this stage, but the XP I got from the area before the boss heavily suggested that I was strong enough, and even if I did go underground, I would not have leveled up a single time. I counted. Each enemy gives you about 20 to 60 XP in the underground, and there were only about 20 or so enemies. In the best case, I would have gotten 1200 XP, and I need more than 10,000 to level up, which means an insane amount of grinding. Normally I can just ignore stuff in games, but that requires them to have something else. But there is no story, no ambience, no aesthetic value, it's just combat, and that one even sucks. These problems accumulate and makes this a Souls-like without a soul. I hated my time with it, and you should not play it. I will name future videos where I warn about games instead of recommending them, why you should not play. Do yourself a favor and don't touch this. Farewell.